We all have flaws. None of us are perfect. But some people? Some people are pure evil. So wicked they don't even deserve to be called human. And in El Salvador, there's only one place for them. Welcome to CECOT, the world's most brutal mega-prison. No second chances. No way out. Welcome to CECOT, the most feared prison in the world.
So,
how did you first become involved?
when somebody is born with just a mom and the mom is working, you look for the streets, you look for somebody to help you out. I said, oh, my mom's poor, I need some shoes, I need some clothes, and I started robbing. Then I need a father figure because I didn't grow up with my father. And then I looked the group of gangs, then I did a side, and I came right here to El Salvador, trying to change my life, but I seen that there were more gangs right here, and I started doing the same thing I did upstate, and I got locked up. I've always been one of them persons that wanted to accomplish the things that they put in their mind, and I accomplished everything I had to do right here. But I'm right here. This is how the devil pays the people.
Throughout history, humanity has prided itself on progress, advancements in ethics, human rights, and empathy that distinguish humans from other species. Yet, paradoxically, the dehumanizing treatment of people, reducing them to the status of animals, persists across societies and eras. From enslaved individuals stripped of personhood to modern instances of systemic exploitation, marginalized groups enduring objectification, or prisoners subjected to degrading conditions, the act of treating humans as less than human reveals a dark undercurrent in our collective behavior. This phenomenon, rooted in mechanisms like dehumanization and moral exclusion, often emerges to justify oppression, violence, or neglect. Whether driven by prejudice, power imbalances, or societal structures that normalize cruelty, such treatment exposes the fragility of human dignity in the face of fear, greed, or indifference. This exploration delves into the psychological, historical, and systemic factors that enable people to be treated as animals, questioning how societies perpetuate such injustices and what it reveals about the boundaries we draw between us and them. By examining these patterns, we confront uncomfortable truths about humanity's capacity for both empathy and brutality.
Yet here, they are side by side until their last breath.
How do they live without attacking one another?
They have to learn how to live together. Here, they are in a prison. They are not on the street.
Most of the inmates have tattoos covering their entire bodies, even including their faces, showing their loyalty structure. For MS-13, tattoos often include initial letters or the number 13. Members of the other gang use symbols like 18 or 666, which add up to 18 and symbolize the devil, or they use Roman numerals. Having gang tattoos on one's face is a clear sign that they are one of the most ruthless and high-ranking members of the organization. Crossing paths with such a person on the street is the same as staring death in the face. A spiderweb tattoo represents being caught in the web of justice and serving a long prison sentence. The devil horns tattoo is a dark symbol that represents these individuals' worship of the devil. Some even claim that they carried out their actions under the devil's command. A teardrop tattoo signifies that the person has ended someone's life. The number of teardrops indicates how many lives they've taken. If there are 3 teardrops, it suggests that the tattoo's owner has taken so many lives that they've lost count. With the phrase "laugh now, cry later," these masks or clown tattoos send a clear message. Stay strong in the face of hardship now and deal with the consequences later. Most are barely out of their early 20s and convicted of serious offenses. Even the most infamous criminals in history have an average of 20 to 30 proven victims. But here, some of the inmates are responsible for hundreds of innocent people's lives.
Can I ask the inmates something?
No. If you have any questions, I can answer them for you.
If they try to communicate with me now, what are you going to do?
I'm not going to allow them. They know from them that subsequently there may be a penalty for not abiding by an instruction.
I'm curious to know which of these group leaders I'll be interviewing.
It is forbidden.
The capacity for individuals to commit acts of extreme violence against their own communities, often neighbors, peers, or even family members, reveals a chilling intersection of systemic failure, psychological conditioning, and societal decay. In contexts where poverty, inequality, and institutional neglect converge, cycles of violence can become normalized, even valorized, as survival mechanisms. Nowhere is this dynamic more starkly illustrated than in El Salvador, a nation long plagued by gang warfare, where groups like MS-13 and Barrio 18 have wielded terror as a tool of control. For decades, these gangs have recruited children and teens from marginalized neighborhoods, offering a twisted sense of belonging and power in exchange for ruthless loyalty. The result is a culture where murder, extortion, and brutality are not just commonplace but ingrained, perpetuated by fear and the absence of alternatives. The brutality of gang violence often mirrors the dehumanization discussed earlier. Victims are reduced to symbols of territory, rivalry, or disobedience, stripped of their humanity to justify their execution. Yet those who carry out such acts are themselves products of a system that has dehumanized them, denied them education, economic opportunity, and dignity, funneling generations into a binary of kill or be killed.
On a cell, we often catch a prisoner silently mouthing words. Even behind bars, gang members attempt to send orders to the outside. This prisoner was doing just that, but we censored him to block the message. Despite the crackdown, these groups still hold significant power outside. Rumors suggest they have plans for taking revenge by targeting innocent people. But in response, the authorities threaten to impose even harsher measures on imprisoned members.
If they do that, there won't even be one meal in prison. Uno. I swear to God they won't eat a grain of rice. Let's see how long their homeboys last inside.
Killed. This cycle entrenches a moral nihilism where empathy is a liability and violence is transactional. El Salvador's response to this crisis, particularly under President Nayib Bukele's controversial war on gangs, has included mass incarcerations in facilities like the Centro de Confinamiento del Terrorismo, CECOT, a hyper-maximum security prison designed to isolate gang leaders. While the government frames CECOT as a symbol of order, critics highlight its role in normalizing state-sanctioned dehumanization. Inmates are crammed into overcrowded cells, stripped of basic rights, and displayed in humiliating spectacles. Images of hundreds of half-naked, tattooed men, pressed together like livestock, circulated globally as a warning. Yet this approach risks perpetuating the very logic of brutality it seeks to dismantle. Treating perpetrators as animals may satisfy a public demand for retribution, but it ignores the structural rot that breeds such violence. The paradox is glaring. A society traumatized by inhumanity responds with more inhumanity, reinforcing the idea that certain lives are disposable. To understand why people kill their own, we must confront not only individual moral failings, but the ecosystems that nurture them: corrupt governance, collapsed institutions, and the global inequalities that render some populations invisible. Until these roots are addressed, the cycle of dehumanization in prisons like CECOT and beyond will continue to mirror the violence it claims to resolve.